League Esports fans, welcome back to another episode of the No FFs podcast where we hit it hard, we hit it fast, and we don't give any Fs about anyone. Today we have our recap of LCS Week 1. The 2019 Spring Split is finally underway in North America, and we have all the action in under 15 minutes. Got my notes here, got my tabs open there. As usual, I'm your host, Xing Li. I write for Esports. You can follow me on Twitter at XingTheLi, XingTheli. And you can also follow the podcast at No FFs Pod. That's No FFs Pod. And you'll get all the updates on when episodes drop and get all the news on the podcast itself here. So we got 15 minutes on the clock, and we're gonna get right into it with Team Liquid versus Cloud9. This was a good game, given how bad the draft went for C9, because this is a catastrophe, right? Smithy's on a cover champion, Impact is on a tank, which he loves, can do really well after he survives the early push from Urgot, and then you have Cass, Lucian, Braum. I don't understand why people give Cass over at all. She's almost permabanned in most regions, and then Lucian and Braum is also almost unforgivable for me. And so I don't know what C9 is thinking. Svenskeren kind of made the most out of it. Had some early pathing issues, but made the most of it. Dove Impact, got a kill on Impact, as you see on the kill score, 1-0 kill score. We're gonna jump ahead to 6:45 in the game and just watch Sneaky here. So Sneaky's in base. His support Zazel is roaming mid on Alistar. So he bought boots and roam mid, and they're both heading out. And Sneaky is gonna TP on a minion. So he's got a big wave shoving into double lift. And he's afraid double lift's going to freeze it. And it's Ezreal Lucian. So Sneaky's on Ezreal. He's going to TP in. This is 6:45 in the game. And double lift sees an Ezreal TPing in on a minion without any support. Easy kill. I mean, this is standard Sneaky and lane stuff, as double lift would call you, or have you call it. And this is just a game where it's Cloud9, they had opportunities, but they gave up both mid and bot lane pressure. They had a couple fights in the river there where they just missed too many skill shots. They just gave up too many opportunities. This is a little thing. A solo kill, 7 minutes in the game. You got Ezreal. It's not going to break the game, but Cloud9 missed too many opportunities like this. Nisqy wasn't good enough. Sneaky wasn't good enough. And Team Liquid just closed out the game. Further into the game, you have Sven initiating in the mid lane. This is 24 minutes and 30 seconds. Again, no idea what they're doing. Just little things where they're not quite on the same page. He goes in and he only catches the tank. So he only catches Impact. I don't know what this is, but it's a front to back team fight, and Team Liquid just play it better. That was GG. Next game, 100 Thieves versus TSM. 100 Thieves, I was worried about this team coming into the year. No, they have a lot of talent. I was worried about what they would do from mid lane and what type of pressure they would have. This is just an example of them not quite respecting the enemy team and not quite being coordinated enough. TSM have 4 members in this river area. They have Bjergsen roaming with the jungler, with Acadian. Acadian's a new jungler for them, but Bjergsen's right on top of it. Meanwhile, Kuki's still caught in lane. So it's 11 minutes in the game. Anda and Aphromoo are together, but they don't respect the power of Olaf, and they don't respect the power of Zillion being with them. They fish for the hook. They don't get it. TSM collapse. It's really nice. Ezreal comes in. They take down 1. They take down 2 with Broken Blade also roaming down. And this is just, TSM... As bad as they've looked in years past, you can still count on Bjergsen being solid, and Bjergsen's ability to direct from the mid lane is what makes them special. Haven't seen that from Huki yet. We'll see more issues from Huki as we move on. This turned into a wipe for TSM. Wasn't that entertaining. They did about 14 minutes. They did around same play around at Infernal. They don't respect the Olaf and the Zillion. And that was it for 100 Thieves. CLG versus Optic. I don't like this from CLG. So I know Power of Evil is a good player. I know that he loves non-traditional champion picks. I would call this a troll pick. My buddy Aaron McCunis, who hosts the Recall podcast, soon to be rebranded the Cooldown podcast, might disagree with me. I think Zillion's a troll pick, or not Zillion. I think Xerath is a troll pick. This is my issue here. So Optic have Urgot, Lissandra with Ezreal, Diana. this is a team comp that can do a couple different things. They can initiate, right? If they catch Lissandra or Diana, they can layer CC. Camille's got long range engage. They can also split. Both Urgot and Lissandra love to be in those side lanes with the mobility and the, just how hard they are to kill and how good they are at taking those turrets. Meanwhile, on CLG's side, you can't really do that with Xerath, and you don't want Stixxay in the sideline either. Well, this is what happens. 22 minutes in, you're trying to prioritize farm on all these carries. Power of Evil's still sitting mid lane, and the Xayah, Stixxay, somehow in the top lane, where she's going to run right into the Urgot. I don't have to tell you how Xayah into Urgot is going to end up. It's not pretty at all for the Xayah. Flashes over the wall. Alarum doesn't have to do anything, and it's an easy kill. And this is the whole problem with this lane allocation situation, where they can 1-3-1 and you can only sit in mid lane with the Xerath. It becomes less and less useful as the game goes on. They don't have any Drake priority. They don't have any side lane priority. At 30, and you just look at the farm difference and how safe the Ezreal is if you're on the side of Optic and you're looking to team fight around Ezreal. At 31 minutes in the game, the Ezreal just takes over. So again, no Drake priority from CLG. They're just running the bot side of the map. They're basic Optic can do anything that they want in this situation. The Ezreal's super farmed, and the game is over. Next game, FlyQuest versus Golden Guardians. This was a relatively even game, right? So lane phase, Golden Guardians are actually up. They're doing a lot in the solo lanes. They're actually winning, quote-unquote, every single lane. Haunter's dominating top lane, taking Vlad into Sion, and Deathly is actually playing pretty well on Lucian into Ezreal, as he should with the advantageous lineup. But overall, what I thought about Golden Guardians was, this is a lot of talent if they can play together like they played last summer. They had instances where they set up Deathly to carry and they played really well. This is a playoff team. FlyQuest, for me, I'm not sure, but I love this roster, but it gives you a floor. Poe Belter in that mid lane, along with Wild Turtle, who they kept over, gives you a floor for how good your performances are going to be. They're going to be consistent game after game. They're not going to be great. They're not going to be bad. They're going to be consistent. And we see this about 12 minutes in. FlyQuest is going to, respond to a play where Deathly dashes in on the Lucian, trying to make a play. They catch Ezreal with a Morg Q, and they think this is time to go in, but they don't count mid lane or top lane teleports. FlyQuest had 3 teleports in this game. Golden Guardians had 1. They had the spellbook on Urgot, but the Urgot didn't have it. And so you have the situation where it's a 5v4 in the bot lane, and Urgot never makes it there. They continually throughout this game did not respect the FlyQuest globals, including Galio and those 3 teleports, and that's what won the game for FlyQuest. Turned around the lane advantages that Golden Guardians had, and made it a tough week for them. We'll see a little bit of that again from Golden Guardians as we go on through the games. Next, we have Clutch versus Echo Fox, and we're going to catch this one very early at 3:54 into the game. We're not going to look at the mid lane, but we're going to look at how the bot lane from Clutch was able to get a pushback. So the wave came into the turret, they accepted it, slow pushed it back. Now you're 4 minutes in almost, and the key here is Vulcan, roaming from the bot lane, gets a ward behind the blue of Echo Fox. Now Echo Fox has Rush on Karthus. Don't love that combination. Rush is a very lane-focused jungler. He loves to help his lanes get kills. Not sure I love the Karthus with him, but it's a good pick. It's a strong pick, so I can understand why they would do it. Clutch get that ward. Now they have a timer on basically his entire blue side jungle, and you're gonna see at about 6 minutes, 5:20 in the game, Lyra comes up from his red side and invades using that ward as intel. Doesn't actually get much, right? He just shows up and he looks at Rush, and Rush gets the Gromp, fine. But now we know where Rush is going. So they force him out of the jungle there because Rush can't fight 1v1 in the jungle. And then Lyra just does the same thing. He runs back and he runs to the red side jungle. And this time he's got help. This time Huni is there. And Huni, this is amazing. Huni has the balls to blindly flash over the wall behind the Krugs, ult flash over the wall, and solo kills Rush in the jungle. I don't have to tell you how bad this is for the Karthus to be set behind like this. He's actually going to fall behind in farm, and he's going to give over priority in the bot lane by feeding Huni a kill. This is a game where the Clutch carries really took off from here. Huni DeMonte played really well. Piglet did what he needed to on Sivir, and Clutch were able to win the game and pressure the Karthus the correct way. We saw this from G2 in week 2, how you get in the face of the Karthus, and even if you don't pick up the immediate kill, you make him uncomfortable, and eventually good things happen. Now we're going into the last set of games. On Sunday, we had FlyQuest versus Optic. This is one where the supports kind of went back and forth, feeding each other, right? So JJ would feed and then Gate would feed. It was kind of a feed fest. We're going to pick this one up at 28 minutes into the game. And what we're going to see here is, okay, so Optic, they have Sion on the bot lane catching a wave at the tier 2 turret. The top lane's a mess, so their side waves are a mess, right? We talked about FlyQuest having a floor for how bad they could be with Pobelter. That doesn't sound like it's giving them much credit, but I'm giving a lot of credit for Pobelter bringing in that professionalism and giving them a level of consistency. The side lanes are a mess for Optic. They need to fix those. They don't really have the tools to do that because Zoe doesn't want a side lane. And instead, they're sitting in mid lane, and Zoe, is pushed up too far. There's no reason. They just want to catch these waves. They want to catch these waves at the turret, fix the side waves, and then do something from there. Instead, Crown goes too far on Zoe. They eventually, FlyQuest that is, initiate on Crown, and they get this fantastic fight where Sion's nowhere to be found. Sion, again, was at the tier 2 bot lane turret, never made it to the fight, and FlyQuest are able to dive Optic under tower. Now, this is a game where Optic were ahead. They were ahead significantly. The early game was defined by Dardoch making plays and controlling the map. And then you get into this mid-game phase where it became the Pobelter show, where he started making plays for FlyQuest, and kill by kill by kill, they were able to claw themselves back into this game and eventually take down Optic. And it was just, one of those games where the more consistent team won. C9 versus 100 Thieves. Not much to say about this one. We're catching it at 3:53 in the game. Huhi gets caught by the Aatrox W, and that was all she wrote. And this is my problem with 100 Thieves. Huhi, I love you, man. Huge champion pool, can play wonky picks like Asol, split push Echo. He's on Rise in this one, and it's just, you can't keep making these mistakes, man. He burns his flash, still gets caught in the box from the Aatrox W. It can't die like this, man. And this gave, C9 everything they needed. They won all the lanes, basically. The other one I was really concerned about with this game is Bang did not pressure Sneaky like I thought he would, right? Bang's not a lane-dominant laner, but I thought, that talent differential as an LCK bot laner, someone who's lane against Teddy, someone who's lane against the best Deft, would be able to exert more pressure, and he didn't. And C9 won all 3 lanes, and that was all she wrote. Liquid versus CLG. This one's actually, CLG played this about as well as they could given the talent deficit. We're going to hit it at 16:30 in the game. CLG had just taken first turret down in the bot lane, and they have an Infernal Drake coming up. Team Liquid already had one Infernal Drake, so super important, right? Not to CLG. What you're going to see here is Wiggly. He's going to... So they just took that turret, so they have bot lane control. Xmithy did something really smart. He popped Rip Herald in top lane to be able to exert pressure there and force Fallen Bandit to kind of at least clear that before it does too much damage. And we see the situation where after taking the bot lane turret right before 16:30, Wiggly departs to go farm his blue side jungle. They don't have any mid lane priority, and they just completely give up this Drake. The analysts and the casters correctly pointed out how they misexecuted the team fight around Drake, where they had, they had Fallen Bandit TP in. It was late. He went around the wrong side of the Drake pit and didn't actually get in and do any damage. But this is a situation where you need to be setting this up way in advance. When you take that bot lane turret, roam mid, take over the red side jungle, clear the control ward that Liquid have behind the red buff, take over that mid lane priority, because that's what's going to give you the access to the Drake pit. Eventually, they didn't do that. They didn't set up. They didn't, take these steps and build the building step by step. Team Liquid were able to roam down from the mid lane. They took over the Drake priority. I don't know what Stickstay is doing here. He's killing a ward. Meanwhile, Bryofrost, Double Lift is by himself. Nobody with him. And Biofrost does this great Alistar initiation. Oh, Stickstay's killing a ward. That pink ward, that's going to be the one that gets you every single time. Core JJ initiates on Stickstay. Team Liquid win the fight. They win the Drake. They outscale. This was one of those games. It was really funny because if you watch the rest of this game, Core JJ has like 5 different fights where he gets to like below 100 HP every single time and just kept living on Rakan, just kept ulting out or dashing out, and but Team Liquid just ran away with this one with the scaling of the multiple Drakes, and CLG fell apart, couldn't keep up. Clutch versus TSM. I don't know how that happened. Clicked on the wrong tab. This is the game where Broken Blade absolutely unloaded on Huni. Taking Aatrox into Victor, he absolutely demolished Huni in the lane phase, which is great if you're a TSM fan. The bad part if you're a TSM fan is everything that happened after that. They're missing late game. So we have the situation where they should have sideline priority. They have the Urgot, they have the Aatrox. Both are fed. The Urgot not so much, but the Aatrox definitely so. And they I understand what they're doing, right? They're thinking we want a 1-3-1, and in order to do that, we need to take down the mid turret. And Clutch are like, we're gonna hold on to that mid turret with an iron fist. If you're in that situation and you see that they're willing to give up sideline priority almost permanently, you take it. You don't need the turret necessarily if they're just gonna give you the side lanes, right? You only need that turret if you're gonna do something with it. In this situation, we're 24-30 in the game. Broken Blade abandons the bot lane. You had to push there, but he abandons the bot lane. And Huni walks up to meet him because if you're the defending team, you have less space to have to walk. There's my timer, which is 2 games left. You know, the blue team, Clutch, will always get there first because they're defending. So he roams mid, doesn't get anything. They get some chip damage on the turret. And then, you know, in reality, you have a Cloud Drake coming up in a bit. You have red buff coming up that you can steal from Clutch. You should have just focus on your side lane priority. TSM refused to do so. Bjergsen shoves in a wave, and then he leaves. He's in the top lane. He leaves that wave too. And then I don't know what Acadian is doing here. He's trying to clear a ward behind the river entrance ward from blue side. Again, this is a side lane game. There's no reason to be there. There's no reason to even have, you know, they have the river warded to protect the split push, but like there's no reason to contest for wards because it's not like you're going to Baron, right? You're a red side team. You're not going to Baron on these guys, especially if they don't give that mid lane turret up. So I don't know what TSM is doing. Bjergsen abandons his push, and all you're doing in this situation is you're feeding waves to Clutch. You're pushing those waves, but if you're not doing anything with them in the side lanes, if you're not taking those tier 2s and making them nervous about about getting to the inhib, you're just feeding them minions. Clutch were able to play this out really well. They never gave up that mid lane priority. They outscaled, and TSM lost almost every fight from here on out. Last game, Fox versus Golden Guardians. Oh, man. I don't know about Ole, man. I don't know that he can play this matchup. He got counterpicked Rakan into Diana. Hakuho's on Diana. And we're, you know, Golden Guardians won the solo lanes. This is a game where the talent showed through, and you think that they can do it. They can do it if the bot lane doesn't feed, and the bot lane fed. I don't think Ole, so he got here. They didn't catch it on camera. They did a replay, but he got caught by the Xayah feather pullback, and then all hell broke loose, and he dies. Okay, let's play a little more defensively, shall we? Nope, doesn't happen. 11 minutes, so that was 7:30, 7:20 in the game. At 11 minutes in the game, this happens. And so they're under turret, and no idea what Ole is doing. He's clearing a ward in the lane bush. I just don't think he knows how to play this matchup. And that's super concerning because Diana into Rakan is becoming a super common matchup. They initiate on Ole. He's actually out. They're out. He decides to go back in, gets ignited. It's like, I know they had the jungler coming, so I wanted to like keep him busy until contracts got here, but I just don't think Ole knows this matchup. And that's a huge question mark for Golden Guardians because the whole process was let's bring the 2 veterans in, Hanser and Froggen, and play around deftly and contracts and have Ole teach deftly. I don't know if Ole doing much teaching. He's feeding the other team here. That's a concern for them. So overall, you know, Team Liquid clearly on top of the game. Cloud9's right there. I thought that game was really competitive before some of the mistakes that Sven and others made. TSM, don't know what we're going to get from them. I hope it's better than we have last year. And I have real concerns about 100 Thieves. I have concerns about jungle mid synergy and their ability to pressure mid at all. And if they can't turn that around, it could be a tough year for them. I'm hoping they turn it around because I love Bang. I love the potential of that team. I want to see good teams compete at the top of the table. I don't want this table where you have a 90% win rate team and then a couple teams that are like 2-10, 2-12, whatever. I want to see more competition than LCS, and I hope like we get that. Hope you enjoyed this episode. Give us a follow at ZingTheLee and at No FFs Pod. Give us a subscription on YouTube. We're on iTunes. Leave us a review, and we're on Google Play as well. We'll see you next time.